Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be our probably final book haul for quite a while. I have not purchased very many books recently. The only reason why we have a book haul today in any capacity is because I just went on vacation with my family last week, about a week and a half ago or so. And there was a half-price books store about an hour west of where we were camping. Now, we don't have a half-priced books in Michigan, as far as I know. Could be wrong, but my last search showed me no half-price books in Michigan. And so I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity and go to my very first half-price bookstore, which I did. And I found a very, I should say, not a very small haul, but I did find a small haul of books to bring home with me. And we're going to go through those today. We're going to go through some of the other books that I purchased since kind of picking videos back up again. And going forward is going to be very limited on what we pick up, aside from the Broken Binding book subscription that I have. I am a tier 1 subscriber there. I have been since the very, very beginning. So those will come in every month. I have a few pre-orders already set through Barnes & Noble, and then there are a couple outstanding Kickstarters as well. I know there's at least the Sword of Kaigen. Then there's a Broken Binding. We've got Shogun coming in soon. Then we have Sean Speakman's got his second book as well. And then there's a couple more, I think, that are yet to come as well. So there will be something and some things that are either already paid for, already budgeted, or pre-ordered that will be coming in going forward. But for the most part, my focus on bringing in new books is going to be more toward the self-pub and indie pub variety. I have been kind of diving more into the indie pub and self-pub people that I personally know nowadays and getting their books on my shelves. And last month in June, and then so far all of July, has been strictly self-pub reading. That's pretty much all that we've been reading those last 2 months. And then it'll continue a little bit into August as well. So this is going to be the last sort of really haul until probably, I don't know, maybe towards the end of the year when we have another small pile that's big enough to make a video for. So buckle in, let's get ready. And we're just going to go over some of the books that I got within the last probably around 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. And the first ones that we're going to start with are Broken Binding, and that's going to be these beautiful editions of Raymond E. Feist's Rift War Saga. I have not read these yet. I have had the mass market paperbacks on my shelf for years. So they are definitely on the TBR. It's just like, this one's a chunker. It is huge. But Tori and I also went through last night and kind of determined which books that we both have and that we haven't read, and this was one of them. So we may, at some point when we finally get to this one, do a buddy read of this to get this series started. But I do really look forward to this. They're both beautiful books. When you're looking, I don't want to spoil the art and whatnot if there are people who haven't seen it yet and don't want to look at it, but these really are gorgeous editions, and I plan on reading these ones when I do get to the story, because I read my special editions. They will be wrapped eventually, and I'm excited to get into this when we do eventually get there. But those would be the first two on today's list. And next we have one that people have started to receive as of July 1st, because anybody who signed up for Brandon Sanderson's most recent Kickstarter way back when knows that we have another secret project that he was working on, and they finally finished that and has started shipping those out July 1st. And that is going to be Isles of the Emberdark. And this book here is really pretty. It's really, really pretty. I looked through it once as soon as I got it, but I don't want to look through it too much, because when I read it, I would like to go through and actually experience what's inside as I read it. And this is a part of the Cosmere, as far as I understand. And I don't know when I will get to this, because I'm in a place where I've only read the first 2 Stormlight. I've read everything else. I've only read the first 2 Stormlight. And with the release of the most recent one, I've become a little nervous. And that's kind of making me sort of put it on the back burner. What I would like to do is I would like to do a reread of what I have read of Stormlight, and then continuing on until we reach the point, of course, that we have got the new release out, and figure out where this one might fit in. I haven't done any research onto where this fits in, but I kind of want to find out where exactly this should be read. Should it be read after the most recent Stormlight, or does this have another place that it should fall, or that it may better fit in within the Cosmere so far? I haven't done any research on that particularly. I don't think I'm going to. I just kind of want to read this after catching up with Stormlight and just figure out myself where it slides in. But I also haven't read Sunlit Man yet for the same reason. So we've got that one and this one that I will eventually get to once I do pick up Stormlight again. And I'm just not sure when that's going to be. Hopefully relatively soon. It's just not necessarily probably going to happen before the end of this year. Either way, the book is beautiful, and it's a really nice addition to add with the rest of the secret projects. And before we get to the haul from Half Price Books, I did go ahead and order from the author's website a self-pub, and people will recognize it. It is this year's Spiffbo winner, and that is By Blood by Salt by J.L. Odom. J.L. Odom is a part of Tori's Discord, so it was really fun and really sweet to be able to follow her sort of journey throughout the whole process of getting to the semifinalists and then the finalists and then actually winning the Spiffbo this year. It was really cool to watch. It was really, really fun to watch. And I have heard, of course, amazing things forever now about this book, and it really does seem like it's going to be something that is right up my alley. I kind of just needed to get to a place where I was in the more self-pub mood, and that's kind of now. So this is actually hopefully going to be read in August, if not by the end of this month, July. This is my next read after a Kindle read that I have, and so I'm hoping I can get all those done in July. But if not, definitely August, and I very much look forward to getting to it. And the first one to start off our haul from Half Price Books, I really don't know anything about most of these. There are a few of them that I got from authors who've been publishing way back when, and I know about them, but there's actually a few in here, most in here, that I've never really heard of. I've never heard of the author very much, if at all, and so most of these are brand new, which is really exciting. And so there are a couple special editions. I think there's an Owl Crate, there's a Book of the Month, and there's a Indie Pub. There's a little wide variety of genre. We have young adult, I believe, if I remember correctly. There's a fiction and in there as well. And then, of course, the fantasy as well, which is what I kind of was looking for anyways. The first one we have is going to be Dragon Fruit by, and I'm not sure I'm going to say this right, Makia Lucier, I think. And this is the Book of the Month edition. It looks freaking beautiful. Look at the art on this book. It is just gorgeous. You see this little bat and his little face here. It's a really pretty book, and of course it wraps all the way around with this little guy right here. I think this book was published by Subterranean Press as well, if I remember correctly. And I believe, if this is the one I'm thinking of, I remember seeing that and going, wow, that's really pretty. That sounds really interesting too. But I wasn't quite willing to pull the plug on the price tag that they wanted for that version. And so I didn't get it. And I kind of regretted it, and I thought about it, and then I got an email again that says that they were still selling. It was almost sold out. Come and get it. And I still didn't. And so if I'm thinking of that as being the same book as this, I was really excited to find this in Book of the Month version. Not that Book of the Month matters in a collectible sort of thing to me. They just tend to sometimes have different art, I think, or maybe not. Maybe this is the original artwork, and the one that I saw was the different? I don't know. Like I said, I've never really heard of these before. So I look forward to reading this, also mainly because this is another sort of cultural aspect story where we're bringing in a different type of culture that I'm used to that is different from mine. And that's kind of where I like to focus a lot of my reading right now, is what are just different authors' cultural experiences that they're bringing into their stories. And that kind of excites me a lot. So I'm really excited to get to this. I don't know when. Again, none of these are really planned to be read anytime soon, but I was happy to find this. And again, half-price books, you just kind of can't go wrong. So, Dragon Fruit. Next, we have an indie press publication. Not sure really how to say that exactly. And you can always tell by the self-pub or indie press, they have that velvety feel for the cover, and it's one of my favorite feels ever. It's one of my favorite sensations. One of my favorite sensations ever. It just feels so nice in my fingers. And so I was actually surprised to see an indie published or a self-published at a half-price books store, a physical store. Anybody who shops or has a half-price books by them that they go to often, do you see quite a bit of indie or self-pub there? I don't know if it's something like, Better World Books where they just get donations from anybody or anyone at any time and they sell pretty much anything, or if they work directly with publishers. I'm pretty ignorant on half-price books overall, so I was kind of surprised. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but I was kind of surprised to see a self-published or indie published book at all. But that's going to be The Boy with Fire, and I might slaughter this name as well. Aparna Verma, I think, is the name of the author. And from what it sounds like or looks like in the acknowledgements page in the back, that this author is likely a content creator in some capacity online. There's a long list of people that they have thanked for the Indiegogo campaign, I guess, when this was being released originally. And I think that's pretty cool. I really like that. I don't recognize the author's name, so I don't know if they're a content creator on BookTube or if it's sort of just like people who sign up to their blog or their website and that's their range. I don't know. But this sounded really interesting, and I'm all about anything with phoenixes. And I have a thing, if I were to choose an element for me, it would be fire. And so I kind of have a thing with the fire magic. I really enjoy it. I always have since I was a kid, probably since I read Brightly Burning by Mercedes Lackey, which has a main character who can control fire, and it goes out of control and it is emotion tied. And it was one of my favorite books growing up as a kid. It was full of angst. It was full of teenage problems and teenage issues, and couple that with tying those emotions to controlling fire and then horse companions, horse girl growing up. It was just written for me. So that kind of sparked, no pun intended, my love for the magical aspect of fire magic. So I look forward to this. And there's also Vengeful Gods and what sounds like assassins potentially in here, some sort of assassin aspect. All that put together, it sounded like a really good time. And so it just adds to the self-pub collection that I'm trying to sort of create nowadays within my library. And I'm kind of all here for that. So there's that one. Now, the next three are going to be for authors that have been writing for a very long time. Most will probably recognize their names, I am sure. And I personally have not read, well, that's not true. I have read a little bit, if not a few pieces from both of these authors. One has just been a very, very long time, and the other has been in a different series of theirs. So the first author is going to be Lois McMaster Bujold, and it's books 2 and 3 in the Sharing Knife series that she has. I already had book 4. I have book 1 in mass market paperback. So eventually I'm going to swap it out with the hardcover, because this old artwork that used to be on all these hardcovers when they were first released is just... there's just something about it and something that I miss. It's why I have all of L.E. Modestet Jr.'s Imager Chronicles right here. even though I've not read a single one of them yet, because the artwork is so incredibly beautiful. And as an artist, I'm a cover person. I'm a cover buyer. That's like the first thing I look at. And if I've got a book or a series that from an author that I already like for their writing in another series, and then I get just to look at their artwork the whole time I'm holding the book as well, it's just a double win for me. So I kind of had to. Eventually we'll get into the Sharing Knife series. I have read her Penric and Desdemona novellas. I do get those from Subterranean Press. I think I'm one behind on the releases, and I have not been able to find the first one, Penric's Demon, because I found the series late in publication, and finding that first one is pretty impossible, and finding it for less than a decent chunk of money is also pretty impossible. So I have that one on Kindle. Maybe I'll get lucky one day and I'll find it at a used bookstore, like a Half Price Books. We can will it into existence. So I am familiar with Lois McMaster Bujold in that regard. I'm not familiar with her in any other series, so I do look forward to branching out with her more than what I've read so far, and hopefully the Sharing Knife will be a really good place to do that before getting to the World of the Five Gods. And the next one to follow up with that, with authors that have been writing for a very long time, is going to be C.J. Cherryh. And C.J. Cherryh is a very, very well-known and well-respected author within the fantasy sphere. I don't want this to reflect into your eyeballs the whole time. Fortress in the Eye of Time is a book that I started probably when I was way younger. Way younger than I ever should have been reading it. I started it when I was in middle school, so I was probably around 11 or 12, 10 to 12 years old, which definitely would have been a little too young for this. And I'm not necessarily saying because of content, just like it's a dense book. It's an adult fantasy. I could not follow along a lot. I remember I couldn't really follow along with a lot that was going on, because it was just a lot. It was a lot for a 10, 11, 12-year-old mind. And I do have the paperback. I don't think you can see it. It's up there somewhere, I think. And it's all torn and beat to crap because I just kept it in my backpack for so long, because it took me forever to even get through the first half. So I never finished this as a kid. I did get through the first half. Could not tell you plot-wise what happened, because, again, I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I do remember some of the character aspects, and I know that there's still aspects of character work that I enjoy now as a reader. So that is why I'm continuing to invest in this series, and this was the last one that I needed in the series of the hardcovers to complete the series. So I will swap out my paperback and make sure this hardcover goes on my shelf along with the rest of them. Next up, we have a special edition from Owl Crate. Owl Crate is not a book box that I ever subscribed to. I was a subscriber for a bit with Fairy Loot until they started very blatantly showing me that they were not going to be publishing the books that I enjoy, that I had any desire to read. But they do have some really beautiful covers. Same with Illumicrate. And yes, all those book boxes have in some regard published books outside of their normal genre, subgenre, and they've been beautiful as well. But Owl Crate is kind of one of those, at least as far as I know, the titles that have been released kind of falls right in the outskirts of an amalgamation of what Fairy Loot and Illumicrate sort of put out. I think all of them pretty much tend to stay around the romantasy, maybe more YA focused, YA driven kind of stories. Just not my thing usually. But this one, and I don't really know if this is classified as YA or not. I haven't done any research into this one. But this cover for The Poison Season by Mara Rutherford is absolutely gorgeous. It is beautiful. I am in love with the animals and just the color coordination and the color. I just love this cover so incredibly much. It's absolutely beautiful. And then you've got these beautiful leaves on the back. I didn't even look at the hard. I didn't look at this when I didn't look at this when I bought it. Guys, look at this. And then, wait. It's so pretty. What is the back? Oh my God. Okay. Well, this is gorgeous. I don't know why I didn't think to look at the naked hardcover. This is beautiful. Well, I wasn't planning on reading this soon. I have my August TBR figured out, but just because of the gorgeous art, I kind of want to read this now. I just goo goo gaga'd out a little bit. Apologies. Poison season. I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit towards the romantasy side, which I am a little nervous about. We have mentioned that before. I am a little nervous about that. I'm hoping that it doesn't lose its plot if it does go that route. That's always my hope for any book that has any sort of inkling of being a romantasy or having those romantic elements. I don't have any problem with romance. I really don't. I don't have a problem with even, I guess, generally romantasy unless you have a character assassinations, you forget the plot, or it becomes extraordinarily toxic. And that is what, in my opinion, most of it is these days. One of those three or all three combined, which is why I just stay away from it. So I am willing to still give books a chance. I am willing to still let them prove me wrong, and I hope to be wrong in a lot of situations for a lot of books. So we'll see what this one does. We'll see how this one goes. And I'm just crossing my fingers that this is a hit for me, because this book is beautiful in every single way. Okay, we are down to the last two. This next one is a small novella that I picked up. I was going through some Goodreads lists because I wanted to find more fantasy-focused, fantasy-centric books written by either Korean or Korean American authors. I don't see a lot of them. What we see quite a bit of is Chinese American. There's, the translated works that we see, which tend to be more towards the fiction side. And I just really I want more fantasy or urban fantasy that brings in the cultural aspect of other cultures, other people, whether that is from authors who are writing in their native tongue and it's being translated, or whether that is, Korean American, Chinese American, Japanese American, Pacific Islander American. One of them, I think the first book that we looked in here, Dragon Fruit, I believe they're Pacific Islander from Guam, which got me very excited as well. And so I was running through some lists on Goodreads, trying to find some new fantasy that sounded interesting to me, that would qualify with those authors specifically. And this was one that I found, and it's Small Gods of Calamity by Sam Kyung-yu, a LGBTQIA+ author who has, I believe, a smattering of short stories in like anthologies and other collections, but I'm fairly certain that this is their first published actual full work, even though it's a novella. I can't find anything else that is like purchasable just from them and not within some sort of collection or anthology. And so I immediately locked onto this because it is what I would consider urban fantasy, and it's like a detective mystery story, paranormal and sort of supernatural type elements. So there's spirits and ghosts, and there's gods. So there's like god spirits of calamity. There's spirit worms that are digging their way into people and causing death and destruction. And we have our detective here who is a little bit more inclined to the spirit world, and he can sort of smell and hear sounds that are sort of connected to different spiritual energies in either ghosts or people, and he is trying to find out what is killing these people, and is it another entity that was also involved in the death of his mother when he was a child. And it's queer, it has queer representation, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I am currently reading it, and I am really looking forward to more from this author. It's not translated. I believe they are Korean American, if I remember correctly, and so I really like the writing style of this so far. It's been fun, it's been kind of light, even with the dark themes and the dark tone of like paranormal, and when they see ghosts who have died, they see their spirit as if it was their body that was all broken and bloody. So there is some gore to it, but it still feels kind of light, and I don't know, it feels K-drama-y, and I'm really enjoying it. So I really look forward to more of what this author might publish in the future. And to follow up on more Korean authors, we have a fiction novel that is by Crystal Hana Kim, and that is If You Leave Me. And this one I had never heard of before. I'm very, very new to fiction, very new to what that genre has to offer in basically all regards. And when I was browsing through the fiction, and the cover caught me again because it's pretty. I like the colors. I did a quick look through, and it seems like it's going to be a really, really heavy, potentially heartbreaking story of broken love in the time of civil war within Korea and their history and what that would look like. And it's not a memoir, obviously, it's fiction, but it sounds like it might follow some of the trends of just that really emotional gut punch of sort of real life circumstances and what happened, and the stories that we hear from people who lived through this time period. So I think I probably have to be in a little bit of a different headspace for this one, just being ready to sort of feel all of those emotions, and being that it's fiction and it's not fantasy, those tend to kind of hit a little harder because they tend to be more based on real events and real people and real lives, and that can just hit a little bit harder. It's harder to distance the brain a little bit from the fantasy aspect of this is all made up, and yes, themes and whatnot are based off of potentially real life circumstances, but it's all made up, versus not all of this is made up. And so I do very much look forward to this. This is going to go directly into one of my TBR jars for the potential drawing of one of my TBRs in the next coming months. So it might be on my TBR sooner than expected, but it might not. And that's okay, because I think I need to sit and just be ready for this one. And I'm also looking forward to that in a weird way as well. And that's all we have for today. Again, that's probably going to be the last haul that we see for a hot minute. I am going to do my absolute best to keep spending down to a minimum. And I say that loosely because most of the books that I bring in are from thrift shops or secondhand bookstores. I have 3 of them within my general vicinity of up to a 35-40 minute drive from my house, which seems like kind of a long ways away, but I don't have any problem driving that distance. So I have a lot of options to get relatively cheap books secondhand. I go to library sales, I go to antique stores, I go to thrift stores, I go to at least 3 used bookstores, and I make additional drives when I'm out of my area to other thrift bookstores as well. So it's not that I bring in a ton of brand new books where I'm spending brand new book prices, but when I went through my shelves a couple days ago and I just did a count of how many books I have, and it's dumb. It's really dumb. And there are a lot that I haven't read, and I want to try and start to rectify that a little bit and get that number of books read higher and number of books unread lower. And that's going to take some time, absolutely, but it's also going to help if I stop bringing books into the house. Aside from, again, what we mentioned at the very beginning of the video, ones that are already taken care of, claimed, and or bought on a monthly basis, or have been purchased from a Kickstarter months ago. So yeah, we'll see a haul maybe at the end of the year. I think that would probably be the best, and then we would have at least something to talk about then. Otherwise, it's really going to be self-pub going forward. So, and that makes me excited too. Anyway, that's what we have for today. Thank you for joining me in this just short haul video, and I hope to see you back in the next one. We will likely have a bookshelf tour coming up very soon. I have not done that yet, and I will be getting new shelves built by my dad relatively, hopefully by the end of the year. And so I kind of want to go through everything that I have right now, and then maybe we'll check in when that new shelf gets installed in the other room. But it would just be nice if y'all kind of knew what was on my shelves back here, what might we be talking about in the coming months or years. So that hopefully will be coming down the pipeline. I have a few ideas for another vlog that might be put together. I don't know. I didn't have a mic the whole time, so it might be a little rough, and there's some other things coming down the pipeline. So again, no rush to make videos. I just appreciate you being here and sitting with me and just listening to me ramble, because that's all I got for you. So I will see you in the next one. I appreciate you again being here. Stay safe, stay kind, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.